Welcome to StarWatch Now, your front row seat to all the hottest gossip, drama, and breaking news from the world of entertainment. If it's trending, shocking, or star-studded, we're covering it. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss what's coming next.
On the morning of Qingming Festival in 2026, before the first rays of sunlight touched the mountains of western Henan, the quiet village roads of Luoyang were already overflowing with people. Red lanterns swayed gently in the cold spring wind. Incense smoke drifted across the wheat fields, and the sound of firecrackers echoed through the valley like rolling thunder. But this was not an ordinary ancestral ceremony hidden deep in the countryside. What happened that morning would soon shock the entire Chinese entertainment world. Nearly 3,000 banquet tables stretched from one end of the village to the other, like an endless crimson river. Relatives traveled from Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and even overseas, returning after decades apart. Elderly villagers stood silently at their doorways with moist eyes, unable to believe that the once quiet child who used to run barefoot through muddy village paths had now returned as one of the biggest stars in Asia. Yet the man standing at the center of this astonishing gathering wore no luxury suit, no designer jewelry, and no celebrity smile prepared for cameras. He appeared in a simple black jacket, his sleeves rolled casually to his elbows, revealing an old digital watch faded by time. Few people knew that the watch had once been bought by his grandmother with months of savings before he left home at 13 years old. And when Wang Yibo slowly knelt before the ancestral graves, pressing his forehead into the cold earth 9 times in complete silence, tens of thousands of people around him suddenly stopped breathing. Some villagers quietly wiped away tears. Others lowered their heads without speaking. Because in that moment, they were no longer looking at a superstar worth billions in commercial value. They were looking at a grandson, finally fulfilling a promise he had carried in his heart for more than a decade. But why would a top celebrity reject enormous international opportunities and spend millions organizing a banquet for nearly 30,000 clan members? What secret was hidden behind his emotional return to the village? And why did this ceremony become one of the most talked about stories across social media during Qingming Festival in 2026? Today on StarWatch Now, we uncover the emotional story behind the grand ancestral banquet that many viewers are calling the moment Wang Yibo truly rewrote the destiny of his entire family. Long before luxury brands competed for his attention and film studios fought to secure his schedule, Wang Yibo was simply a quiet village boy, growing up among endless wheat fields and old stone houses in a remote part of Luoyang. Life there was simple, slow, and often difficult. Most young people eventually left the village to search for work elsewhere, while the elderly remained behind to guard the ancestral homes and family traditions. Unlike many energetic children his age, Wang Yibo rarely caused trouble. According to older villagers, he often sat beside his grandfather, listening carefully to stories about the family lineage, ancient traditions, and the importance of humility. His grandmother, meanwhile, treated him like the treasure of the household. Even during difficult financial times, she always tried to save the best food for him and would stay awake late at night, sewing warm cotton shoes for winter. Those memories would quietly shape the person he later became. Every Qingming festival, his grandfather would take him through narrow village roads towards the ancestral graves. The young boy would carry incense carefully in both hands, while listening to lessons about gratitude, family honor, and never forgetting one's roots, no matter how far life might lead. At the time, nobody could have imagined that this reserved child would one day stand at the top of the entertainment industry. Everything changed when he was 13 years old. During a local street dance competition, Wang Yibo's natural talent caught the attention of industry scouts connected to South Korea's entertainment world. The opportunity sounded almost impossible for an ordinary village boy. Leave China, train abroad, become an idol, build a future no one in the village had ever dreamed of. But beneath his excitement was another reason pushing him forward. He wanted to change his family's life. Before leaving for Korea, his grandmother reportedly held his hands tightly and repeated one sentence again and again. No matter how successful you become, never forget where you came from. That sentence would follow him for years. Life in Korea was far from glamorous. While fans today see polished performances and global fame, very few understand the loneliness behind those trainee years. Wang Yibo barely understood the language. Training sessions lasted endlessly, from early morning until late at night. Injuries became routine. Homesickness became constant. During traditional holidays, while others reunited with their families, he often remained alone in practice rooms, staring out at city lights through cold windows. According to former staff members, he rarely complained openly, but he often carried a folded note in his pocket containing his grandmother's words. Whenever exhaustion overwhelmed him, he would quietly read those lines again. Success did not arrive overnight. Even after debuting, his group struggled to gain widespread popularity. Online criticism followed him constantly. Some questioned his personality because he was quiet. Others criticized his speaking style or doubted his abilities. Yet, instead of responding publicly, Wang Yibo chose silence and discipline. That silence later became one of the defining traits of his public image. Then came the turning point that changed everything. The Untamed exploded across Asia and transformed Wang Yibo into a household name almost overnight. His portrayal of Lan Wangji created an emotional connection with audiences far beyond ordinary idol popularity. Fans admired his calm presence, restrained emotions, and quiet intensity. Commercial offers flooded in endlessly. International luxury brands sought partnerships. Major directors extended invitations. But perhaps the most surprising part of his rise was what happened behind the scenes. Instead of distancing himself from his past, Wang Yibo reportedly began investing quietly into his hometown. Village roads were improved. Educational support projects appeared. Elderly villagers received assistance. Some young people returning from other cities were offered new opportunities connected to local development projects. Yet almost none of these stories were publicly promoted. That contrast fascinated audiences even more. In an entertainment industry often filled with carefully designed public images, Wang Yibo's strongest moments seemed to emerge when cameras were absent. Then tragedy struck. The passing of his grandmother deeply affected him. People close to the family later described him as becoming noticeably quieter afterwards. During one private visit to the ancestral graves, he reportedly remained there alone for hours without speaking. For many viewers, this became the emotional center of the entire story, because suddenly, the grand banquet of 2026 was no longer simply about wealth or spectacle. It became about fulfilling a promise. As Wang Yibo's fame reached extraordinary levels by 2023 and 2024, his career appeared unstoppable. Box office success, fashion dominance, international recognition, and massive social media influence placed him among the most commercially valuable celebrities in China. Everyone expected him to continue expanding globally. But during early 2026, rumors quietly began circulating online that Wang Yibo had declined several enormous opportunities. Some insiders claimed he postponed negotiations connected to international productions. Others suggested luxury endorsements worth staggering amounts had been delayed. At first, many people assumed it was simply scheduling conflict. Then Qingming Festival arrived, and suddenly social media exploded. Photos emerged showing endless banquet tables stretching across a mountain village. Videos captured villagers gathering beneath rows of red lanterns. Smoke rose from enormous outdoor kitchens where meals were prepared for thousands of guests. Elderly clan members arrived carrying family records and ancestral tablets preserved across generations. What shocked viewers most, however, was Wang Yibo himself. There was no celebrity distance. He greeted elderly relatives personally at village entrances. He bent respectfully when speaking to older clan members. He distributed red envelopes to children. He helped move offerings with his own hands. Witnesses even described him waking before dawn to assist with food preparations. One particular moment spread rapidly online. At around 4 a.m, before the official ceremony began, Wang Yibo was seen beside a large fire, carefully roasting whole lambs prepared as offerings for the ancestral ritual. His face was covered with sweat and smoke, yet he reportedly refused help multiple times. Some older villagers later said they had not seen dedication like that from younger generations in many years. Then came the ceremony itself. As incense smoke drifted through the cold spring air, Wang Yibo stepped forward, carrying offerings with both hands. Thousands watched in silence. When he finally knelt before the graves and bowed repeatedly until dust covered his forehead, the atmosphere became overwhelmingly emotional. People nearby later admitted many could no longer hold back tears, because in that moment, the glamorous image of celebrity disappeared entirely. What remained was simply a grandson honoring his family. The symbolism behind the 9 bows also captured enormous public attention online. According to local interpretations shared afterwards, Each bow represented gratitude, remembrance, responsibility, and hope for future generations. For many younger viewers watching online, the ceremony unexpectedly awakened emotions about their own families, grandparents, and hometowns. That emotional connection became one of the main reasons the story spread so quickly across the internet. But perhaps the most powerful moment happened later that day. During the gathering, the Wang family elders officially announced that a dedicated page would be added to the clan genealogy in Wang Yibo's honor. Within many traditional family structures, such recognition carries extraordinary symbolic meaning. It represents not only personal success, but lasting contribution to family legacy and community pride. When Wang Yibo accepted the genealogy book with both hands and bowed deeply once again, even some media reporters present admitted the atmosphere felt less like celebrity news and more like witnessing history within an ordinary family, transformed by one person's perseverance. The story resonated far beyond fandom culture. Parents praised his humility. Older viewers admired his respect for tradition. Younger audiences felt inspired by his determination and loyalty to his roots. Even many casual viewers who were not previously fans found themselves emotionally affected by the sincerity of the event. Because beneath the fame, money, and spectacle, the story carried a simple message people everywhere could understand. No matter how far someone travels in life, there is still something deeply human about remembering where they began. And perhaps that is why this story became so powerful online. It was never truly about the banquet itself. It was about a village boy who carried his grandmother's words through years of hardship, loneliness, criticism, and success, and finally returned home to fulfill a promise made long ago beside quiet wheat fields under the cold skies of Henan. As the ceremony ended and evening slowly covered the mountains, villagers remained seated beneath glowing lanterns, sharing stories, laughter, and memories late into the night. Somewhere among them sat Wang Yibo, no longer separated by fame or status, but reunited once again with the people and land that shaped his earliest dreams. And maybe, in that peaceful moment, the little boy who once promised to make his family proud finally felt he had truly come home. Thank you for staying with StarWatch Now all the way until the end of today's emotional story. Moments like these remind us that behind the glamour of fame and the endless headlines, there are still celebrities who choose kindness, gratitude, and family above everything else. Whether you are a longtime fan of Wang Yibo or simply someone who appreciates heartfelt stories about perseverance and loyalty, we hope this video brought you warmth, inspiration, and perhaps even a reminder to cherish the people waiting for us back home. If you enjoyed today's story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to StarWatch Now, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest deep dives into the emotional journeys, hidden moments, and untold stories behind the biggest stars in Asian entertainment. And before you go, tell us in the comments below, if you had the chance to return to the place where your dreams first began, what promise would you want to fulfill? Thank you once again for watching. Take care of yourselves, stay kind to the people you love, and we will see you again very soon here on StarWatch Now.